So you are playing Guild Wars 2 and you like the open world in this game, but you are wondering what build you are aiming for. So I'll make it short and tell you that there are 3 types of open world builds. The tagging builds aim to gather more loot while farming meta events with others. The glass cannon DPS build that aims to deal as much damage as possible during meta event while being carried by support players to increase your ego and see your name showing in the DPS meter.
Nice.
But struggle to survive alone. And finally, the solo build, which aims to complete every other content in the open world, since meta events are only a small part of open world content, such as achievements, side events, and story, easily, and still do great as a support during meta events for good farming. And that is my field of expertise, and I have a long history to prove it, especially since Guild Wars 2 is my favorite single-player MMO, and I dare you to change my mind. My name is Hyzen, and I will be your guide to play the game in the right way, single-player mode. Also, if you have any questions or you want to join my community guild, make sure to join my Discord server for news, also to vote for content, since this video was picked based on votes in my Discord, and there will be more in the future. Without any further ado, let's start.
The Kurziks and Luxons were bitter enemies.
My back! Oh, my back! Hey, yo, what the fuck?
Nice.
Seriously, that was the absolute best you could do?
Alright, let's start with the gear. The gear that we will use is going to be Celestial gear, with trouble runes and expertise infusions. The infusions are optional, but it's good to have for extra DPS. Your main DPS weapons is going to be Mace and Axe, with Tormenting and Ferret sigils, to maximize the DPS, since Tormenting is the main damage for Revenant. In case you want to use Spear, you need to replace Tormenting sigil with Strength sigil to keep your might stacks 25 uptime. The damage is still lower compared to Mace Axe, but if you want to use Spear, well, that's what you need to equip. As for second weapon, I recommend using Shortbow with Tormenting and Corruption sigils, because Shortbow has a good base power damage to kill mobs faster, as you can see, and with Corruption sigil, you can stack condition damage up to 250 for every mob you kill, to maximize your damage output whenever you swap to Mace Axe when you encounter a tough veteran, elite, or maybe a boss. And finally, for relics, you're going to use Relic of River to give yourself alacrity to reduce all your DPS and survival skills faster. In case you need an alternative, you can use Relic of Sorcerer to increase your damage output by increasing the amount of vulnerability stacks. Both are solid options, but Relic of River, in my opinion, is better to have both alacrity and quickness on this Vindicator build. As for traits, you're going to use Corruption and Salvation trait line. Corruption trait line is your main trait line to increase your condition damage and duration. Acolyte of Torment will increase your tormenting condition damage by 10%, especially since you can stack this condition to around 50 stacks. Pact of Pain will increase all your conditions duration by 15%, that include vulnerabilities. Fiendish Tenacity will give you resistance boon every time you swap legend stances, and it will heal you a lot for every second you have resistance active. Next is Salvation trait line. Salvation trait line is really important trait line that made Vindicator extremely tanky and able to keep all boons easily uptime, since it scales based on your healing power stats and it heals you every time you dodge. Your first trait, Eluding Nullification, will remove condition from you and nearby allies every time you dodge. Resilient Spirit will generate barriers every 3 seconds for each different boon that is active, up to 5 boons, and that is easily to achieve on Celestial Vindicator. Unyielding Devotion is a great trait that will reduce incoming damage by 15% all the time. And finally, Vindicator trait line. Your first trait will generate might and regen when using Alliance stance skills, which help to keep your might 25 stacks uptime. Your second trait is a great trait to give 25 extra energy to use more skills. You can use it to either cast elite skill twice or keep stability always active uptime. In case you want more dodges for survival, you can use the Song of Arboreum trait to get more endurance and vigor, to dodge more often. And your final trait is your main source of might and protection, to increase your total damage and decrease the damage you receive. And finally, your skills, starting with Alliance stance skills. Scavenger Burst is a really important skill that you want to cast it 3 times when you are in Alliance stance before swapping to Demon stance. It will inflict burnings, restore endurance, and generate quickness. The amount of endurance and quickness duration increase based on how many enemies you hit with this skill. Reaver Rage is a great survival skill that removes CC effects from you, dazes enemies around you, and generate stability. The amount of stability increases for every enemy you hit, and the cooldown is low. So if you use the Energy Meld skill, you will be able to use this skill 2 times while in Alliance stance, before swapping to Demon stance, to have permanent stability active. Spear of Archimorphs is a good DPS skill to inflict torment when you have more energy to spend. And finally, if you need more conditions removal, you can switch your Alliance utility skill to use Tree Song skill to remove conditions from you and heals you for each one you removed. And finally, Demon stance. The only thing that matters in Demon stance is to always keep your elite skill, Embrace the Darkness, always active. The elite will inflict torments on all enemies around you, and when you use your weapon skill to spend energy, the elite skill will pulse more torments to deal more damage. If you have End of Dragon expansion, it's good to chart your Jade protocols to increase your defensive and offensive stats, and generate boons every time you enter combat. And you can stack this buff duration up to 3 hours, so it's really good to have. If you are going to do meta events, you want to use this trait to heal and generate alacrity to you and to other players around you, to maximize your farming profit. When playing Revenant in general, always keep swapping stances to recharge your energy to use both stances, skills more often. You don't have to worry about getting hit, since Salvation trait line will keep you alive, as long you keep your boons active by dodging, and resistance to heal you as long you keep swapping your legend stances. And finally, it's really important to face tank mobs and bosses, to make them stand still, to let your torment condition inflict more damage per second when mobs or bosses are standing still, to take more damage to kill them really fast. That is everything you need to know about Vindicator. If you want to know how to use and spend your energy, you can check both the DPS rotation video in the description and the showcase where I fight bosses and defeat them around 40 seconds while being extremely tanky. Take care and enjoy watching the showcase.
It's my turn.
kills me.
It's my turn. Right on target.
That feels good. Refreshing.
It's my turn.
Moving on. No oven turns.
Last, now it will feast on their anguish. It's my turn.
Not enough of this.
Now we shall witness true ultimate power.